Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of my farming challenge. We're going to jump right into it today and start by repaying the loan. If you were here at the end of my last video, you might have seen that we did make that $100,000, but I couldn't figure out how to repay the loan. What ended up happening is I came back to the shop to drop off my equipment, and off camera I was just playing around in the settings and I found that I could pay back the loan. So I am assuming maybe you have to be at the shop to pay it back. I'm not sure. Anyways, very exciting. We did complete our first goal, and here we are now just getting ready for the day and cleaning off all of our equipment. But while we do that, let's talk about what the next steps of this playthrough will be. What I think we should do now is possibly buy a smaller piece of land, kind of like a starter farm, something that we can have our own field to do harvesting on and also have our own space. Right now I'm putting all of my equipment and storing all of my equipment at the shop, but maybe it would be also nice to have somewhere to keep our equipment that's out of the way. But yeah, I think that's what we're going to do today. We have $23,000, so definitely not enough for a field, I don't think. Well, let's see what kind of contracts we can get today and see if we can buy a new field. I forgot that actually before I started filming, I did accept 3 cultivating contracts, and they will probably make us just about the right amount of money to just start looking up the smaller fields. So let's head over and do our first job of the day. So now we're at our second field for cultivating today. And as you can see here in the map, it's such a perfect rectangle, and I was like, oh, I really would love to own this piece of land. I don't think I show it here, but this piece of land is a lot of money. So if we wanted to buy this, it would definitely be something a little bit further down the road, mid-game to late game. But it's just so satisfying how just perfect this field is. And of course I'm doing a contract, so I'm sure you've noticed that it doesn't let us actually cultivate the entire field when we're doing it. So I don't take my time with this one. But yeah, the reason why this field is so expensive is because you actually buy the plot of land, and if you can see below in the south on the map, that area also comes with this land. So I guess the idea is that you can kind of like take those trees out and build sheds, barns, whatever you need for your farm. But yeah, I think this is definitely something to consider later down the road. Another con, I guess, is that it is in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. So I'm assuming, I'm not really sure, I don't know the map too well, but it must be far away from a lot of things. The drive here was gorgeous. You go through like that tunnel of trees you can kind of see here, and this land is just really, really nice. So definitely something to consider later. So here I am at the next field. It was actually really nice because my two cultivating jobs here were on essentially the same road. So that was really nice. I didn't have to go too far to find this one. This field does feel a little bit better, bigger, and it's also a little bit wonky. You can kind of see in the shape of the map, but it wasn't too bad for this contract. So let's speed it up, and I'll see you when we're all done. so I ended up not filming the entirety of that last field. It was so big, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. You don't need to see every single detail. But here I am kind of looking for the next contract, and we're lucky to find a mowing contract. But that means we're going to have to go back to the shop and drop off our cultivator and get our mower. That actually isn't too big of a deal because in order to get to that part of the map, it's at the very northern part of the map, and we're at the very southern part of the map, so we would have to kind of go in that direction anyway to head to the shop. So instead of showing a montage or a time lapse of me traveling to the shop, how about I meet you at the next field? Okay, so like I said, I cut ahead and now we're at this field to mow it. But I just going to start off by chatting a little bit about the next steps of this challenge, because when I was mowing this land, it actually gave me an idea of what to do next. So you can see here, this piece of land is very long and very narrow, and it actually made this job quite easy to do. And what's nice about this field is right beside it there's another field, and even further on, when we drive up here, there is a tiny piece of land. And I did some research after I was done this field, mowing this field, and I found that tiny piece of land, that number 34, is actually very affordable, and I really started to consider maybe making that my first piece of land. Now at first I was a little bit worried because it is quite a small piece of land, but at the beginning of this video I kind of said I really wanted a starter farm, something not too big that we can't manage, and something that we can kind of afford and kind of test out on. I'm going to be honest, when I've played Farming Simulator in the past, I know everyone plays differently, but I've actually kind of stuck to contracts. I don't know what it is about contracts, I just find them so relaxing and so nice to do that I haven't really dove into owning my own land. I mean, I think when I first started playing this game, I did start with the starter land, and it comes with land that's already, I think for the most part, it's already has like different crops on it that you can harvest yourself, and it comes with all the different equipment. But of course, we probably don't have all the equipment we would need to have a piece of land. So that piece of land is very tempting to me right now. I guess my hesitation, other than it being so small, is I'm not sure if I have space to kind of hold the equipment, and also kind of like space for me to add to it, like for example adding a greenhouse or a sawmill or any other extras that might be able to start making me passive income. However, a nice positive to starting with that land is that the crop type right now is grass, and I'm not sure if you remember, but in our first episode we bought a round baler that was in the sale section, and I'm pretty sure that you can round bale grass, and maybe that's an investment that we started at the beginning of the season that could really, give us some profit going forward. The other nice thing about grass is that it is October right now, and as we know, you can't really harvest anything other than grass, and I think a few other crops in this time of year. So maybe it's kind of boring, but maybe we just stick to grass. We have a mower, we have a baler. I'll honestly probably have to do a little bit of research into what other equipment we might need. I know when I look at the shop page, there's something called I think it's a teeter. If I remember correctly, it says to dry out the grass. So maybe you have to have one of those before you use a baler. But you know what? Like I said, I don't know too much about this game, but I am willing to research and watch YouTube videos and look at Reddit posts and kind of learn, and we all have to start somewhere, right? So I think with all that considered, this will probably be a move. And I don't think I've mentioned it yet, but it also has the idea of kind of like expanding to these, like number 35 and this plot we're on right now, 44, because they're so close together. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the move to do. So, anyways, for now, I've talked so much. This mowing job is actually almost over. So, how about instead of even doing a time lapse, let me just skip ahead to when this field is done. So there we go. We're all done that mowing job, and as you can see here, there weren't really any cultivating contracts I could take right now without leasing equipment, and that is one of the rules that I am following. So I did end up actually speeding ahead through time, and we did end up getting another cultivating job. I'm just looking through to see, yeah, and you'll see here I did go to the ferry area to kind of wait it out. I didn't have to wait too long. It's only noon o'clock in the game. But how about I kind of speed it up? I'm not going to show you me going back to the shop and changing out the equipment and all that kind of stuff. But I'll show you the beginning of the job and probably the end of the job. We're going to try something new this time. And there we go. With a little bit of editing magic, we just turned half an hour of real work into under a minute of clip for this video. Anyways, let me know if you prefer these shorter clips, kind of showing the highlights of it, or if you enjoy the longer clips. But yeah, there's not really any contracts jobs, so let's see what we do next. So after I was done that contract, I just was looking around for other contracts and nothing really came up, and I just could not stop thinking about that field. So you'll notice that I'm coming from a different direction as before, because I kind of drove around a little bit and I accidentally hit, yep, I guess I have to be careful of that. I hit a sign there. But yeah, so I head over to the field because I just wanted to take a better look at it, because when I did mow the grass for that field 44, you know, I didn't necessarily get right beside it. So it's kind of scenic. There's like a nice little bridge over this little creek, and one thing that is a little bit, I don't know if the right word is concerning, but interesting about this lot is that it is up a hill. But I did take a look at this, and this where I'm running right now is part of the land, and I thought maybe it would be possible to put like a shed here where I'm standing, and then maybe for now kind of store the equipment up that hill towards the road. And yeah, you'll see here I'm literally just sitting and thinking, and I just was so unsure. I took a look at the contracts very quickly again, and I ended up buying it. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna buy it. So yeah, so now we own this land, and I'm not going to show you what I did next, but I did end up bringing all of the equipment to the land just to kind of store it here. But I am going to meet you back at the shop because I do have a question. So as we come back to the shop, you'll see I did buy myself a new piece of equipment. I did buy myself a little trailer to go in the back of the tractor. The reason being is because, one, I was hoping I could find a way to transport that pressure washer to the farmland without having to like literally drive it all the way there. I think that would take hours. And two, I am planning on cutting down a lot of the trees in that farmland for now, to kind of make room for adding different barns and sheds. And it would be nice to have a trailer for the back of the tractor. But my big thing is I'm using the PC and I'm not using a controller, and I cannot figure out how to load this trailer. And I think there might not be a way other than maybe using a forklift. So that might be something that I have to consider buying in the next episode. I tried looking online on how to open these flaps and I just could not figure it out. Anyway, as frustrating as that was, at the end of the day, the pressure washer isn't necessarily something essential for the farm, so it wasn't something too concerning for me right now. The plan for now is to just kind of figure out, maybe do some research and figure out how to transport that pressure washer in the best way to our new farm, and kind of figure that out for the next episode. But I did accept one last contracting job for the day. It is getting late. It's around 4:30 in the game, so I knew this would be the last one. But I think my, philosophy right now is to just accept as many contracting jobs as we can, because even if I do start getting that grass field set up, I don't expect it to make us a lot of money. I kind of expect it to be kind of a starter farm that we can learn off of, and I'm kind of more like a hobby farm. I'm not really expecting myself to make too much of a profit off of that, and I think that's fine for right now. Like I said, we live and we learn, and we all have to start somewhere, so this is where I'm going to start. But this one I will montage and put a time lapse on. Please let me know in the comments whether you prefer kind of like the highlights of the cultivating contracts, or if you prefer it this way with the time lapse. I figured I'd try both ways and see what the audience would like and what they would prefer. But after this is done, I don't even think I ended up recording the finances, so how about we do that at the beginning of the next episode, and I will see you then. Bye guys.